In the top stories, Sugar Mass prize giving ceremony tomorrow, National Day of Prayer slated for Thursday, and Prime Minister thanks long-serving pastor for service to the community. The details on these stories and more after the break.
Without limits, happy and free, the skin you're in with no apology, the one to seize the day, grab an LLB, live, love, be. With LLB, live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB, live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime and bitters, live, love, be.
Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Channel 5 newscast. I'm Carla Berridge. Performers and contestants in the 2020-2021 Sugar Mass celebrations will be rewarded for their accomplishments during the official virtual Sugar Mass prize-giving ceremony on Wednesday. Chair of the National Carnival Committee, Shannon Hawley, said due to the pandemic they've had to do things differently this year, so the ceremony will be virtual. She went on to explain what viewers can expect.
We're going to be distributing all of our cash prizes to all of the winners, runners-up, and participants of the finals for the Senior Calypso competition and Panorama, plus, of course, the competitions that were held leading up to Carnival, the Creative Arts competition, and, of course, Sugar Scope. It will be held at Royal St. Kitts, but, again, it's a virtual event, so we're encouraging everyone to log on the SKN Carnival Facebook page, ZIZ pages, Win FM, and also Freedom, and just witness a short, very sweet ceremony.
Ms. Hawley said as part of the ceremony, they will be recognizing and honoring persons who have been long-standing contributors to Carnival over the years.
We are going to be honoring a few individuals who we felt have contributed over the past 30 plus years to Sugar Mass or to National Carnival, and tomorrow we're going to just be giving them a small token of our appreciation for their efforts over the past 30 plus years towards National Carnival.
She said the ceremony will also serve to give a taste of what's coming in Sugar Mass 50.
It's not only going to be a prize-giving ceremony tomorrow, but it's also going to be a launch for On the Road to Sugar Mass 50. So we're going to give you some snippets of what to expect for Sugar Mass 50, some name changes as it relates to some of the shows, etc. So it's going to be a short, as I said, short but sweet virtual experience.
The Sugar Mass virtual prize-giving ceremony will also feature performances by Senior Calypso Monarch Queenie G, Lala, and Panorama champions EBJ Harmonics. The ceremony begins at 7:30 p.m. and will be broadcast live on ZIZ's social media pages. The government has designated Thursday, 28th January as a National Day of Prayer to give God thanks for His goodness and providence over the past year, and guidance and protection in the year ahead. The Antioch Baptist Church in Limekiln Bastyr has been identified as the official church for the National Day of Prayer, where government ministers, church leaders, permanent secretaries, and senior government officials will congregate for worship at 8 a.m. All churches in the Federation are expected to open their doors for persons to have an hour of sacred time with the Lord throughout the day. Special prayers will be offered up for the extraordinary circumstances in which the Federation and the whole world over have found themselves in the throes of the COVID-19 pandemic. Frontline workers, businesses, and the unemployed will receive special intercessory prayer. The security forces, the youth, families, victims of gun and domestic violence, and a cessation of the same, the government, leaders in civil society, and community organizations will also be prayed for. The National Day of Prayer will be carried live on ZIZ radio and television and streamed live at zizonline.com. Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris has thanked Reverend Hilton J. Joseph for his years of faithful service and strong leadership as a clergyman to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. This comes as Reverend Joseph, who now serves as the superintendent of the Moravian Church St. Kitts Conference and as pastor of the Zion and Bethel Pastorate, has accepted a call to serve as the pastor of the Spring Gardens Moravian Church in Antigua, effective March 1st, 2021. Reverend Joseph and Mrs. Joseph stopped by the office of the Prime Minister on Monday, January 25th, where Prime Minister Harris expressed his profound thanks to the Reverend for all he has done over the years and extended to him his best wishes as he prepares to take up his next assignment.
I think you brought a sense of deep energy to the church, a high, level of enthusiasm among the membership, and the worship sessions were quite enjoyable. So for all that you have been able to accomplish to the church family, for the country, your prayers of support for the government and for the country, I want to record deepest appreciation and wish you all the very best in your new endeavors. My fond memories of our...
Reverend Joseph has served the people of St. Kitts and Nevis since 2008. Reverend Joseph said he is happy that over these years he was able to positively impact the lives of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
We're just humbled by the fact that we were able to interact in so many different levels across this nation, from the very high end to the very low end of the spectrum. And we give God the glory, the praise, and the honor. So, good sir, we want to thank you and the cabinet and just the people of this great federation for opening up their hearts and resources and just the love to us.
Reverend Onita Samuel Warner will serve as the pastor of the Zion and Bethel Pastorate in St. Kitts, while Reverend Erwin Warner will serve as the acting superintendent of the St. Kitts Conference. Both appointments take effect from March 1st, 2021. And in other national news, the St. Kitts Nevis Customs and Excise Department joined its regional and international counterparts in celebrating World Customs Day 2021 on Tuesday. Activities for this year's observation are being celebrated under the theme Bolstering Recovery, Renewal and Resilience. Public Relations Officer at the St. Kitts Nevis Customs and Excise Department, Kishma Griffin, spoke of the significance of this theme and how the department was able to apply it to its daily operations.
The pre-examining of cargo and the pre-assessing of cargo in the peak season in December.
She said a number of activities to celebrate World Customs Day this year had to be scaled down due to the ongoing pandemic.
On our visit to the Cardin home, we normally assist with the sharing of the food, with the feeding of the people if they require any assistance. But in light of COVID again, we were unable to do that this year, but we insisted that we wanted to be a part of the Cardin home again. So that is why we're doing it through a donation this time. On Thursday, we will be having our customs officer appreciation luncheon. Normally on a Sunday after church, we would go to a fancy restaurant and have a really nice meal, reward the customs officers for their hard work throughout the year. This year it's not possible again because of COVID, so we have decided to order from the restaurant and eat in place, so everybody will be given a meal and encouraged to interact with their groups and their peers in their respective units.
Other activities to commemorate World Customs Day include a Customer Appreciation Day on Friday, where persons clearing packages will receive a small token of appreciation. After the break, ceremony to be held to commemorate the anniversary of the Buckley's Uprising, and Rotary Club of Liamiga launches mask-wearing campaign. Stay with us.
Use your National Bank Visa debit card 5 times or more weekly for a chance to win a $500 shopping spree. Compliments of National Bank. So think twice the next time you want to use cash. Choose your National Bank Visa debit card instead, because you might be the next lucky winner.
What's going on?
Tony Frederick!
You've just won National Bank's Cashless SKN $500 weekly shopping sweepstakes.
Use your National Bank Visa debit card every transaction for a chance to be the next lucky winner.
I've just never won anything before in my life.
Cashless SKN is our new lifestyle choice. National Bank, always here. Always here.
Welcome back. The Rastafari Nyabingi Theocracy Church of His Imperial Majesty and Her Imperial Majesty will host a ceremony in commemoration of the 86th anniversary of the Buckley's Uprising later this week. On January 28, 1935, cane cutters at Buckley's estate demanded an increase in wages, and the manager refused to consider the demand and offered the cutters back to work. The cane cutters immediately held a meeting and decided to go on strike. The unrest continued for several days and resulted in 3 deaths and 8 recorded serious injuries. ZIZ News spoke with the order's public relations officer, Ras Aya, who said it is important to host this type of event because of the history associated with it.
There was a uprising to employ of the feeling that they was really facing at those times in the achievement, as we say. It was underpaid, and the work that they had outlined for the payment that they were receiving wasn't sufficient to help them as a substance of their daily living or even for the lifetime of the people who they have to look after. This is the most important because there is a vital part in it that it takes a change in the whole aspect of the Caribbean islands. And to see that we are the mantra of this change, we should be able to continue the strive of sharing the information value.
He outlines what can be expected at the commemoration ceremony.
We have something in place, like basically beyond from the general aspect of the time to start. We have doing now another area where we say we start a procession from 2:30. That's we take it from the Wrigley Avenue area, walk from there and go into Buckley's area, and then we'll start the ceremony for 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Looking at having speeches and poets to display at the anniversary and to engage that these information share about what was the past of our history, so the generation be able to outline where they go forward from here.
Ras Aya said it is hoped that in the coming year, more can be done to recognize the events of the Buckley's Uprising.
And the date marked on the 28th of January, that is this year, so we say it marking the 86th anniversary, and we are glad to see that this is the 86th, but we would like to know that the 86th will be able to impact. We have no more negotiation can outline and see more changes, so in the 87, 88, we know we got somewhere recognizing more than just a celebration.
The ceremony in observance of the 86th anniversary of the Buckley's Uprising will be held at Buckley's Estate on Thursday, January 28th. The Rotary Club of Nyabingi launched a mask-wearing campaign on Monday to promote the wearing of face masks among the public to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. The campaign is called I Wear a Mask Because, and in a video posted to the club's YouTube channel, members of the club shared why they wear their face masks. In an interview with ZIZ News, President of the club, Denise Aline, explained that this initiative is in an effort to keep the rate of COVID-19 infections low in the Federation.
The Rotary wanted to do its part to encourage persons to follow the protocols, and so one of our members, he does videography, that's his business, and this is vocational month actually, where we highlight the vocation of a person in our club. And so as his contribution, he suggested that we do a public service announcement by way of video where we encourage mask wearing. As a part of the campaign to keep the numbers of COVID infections low.
She explained that she anticipates the club will be doing more during the campaign.
I anticipate that we will do other activities. We are going to donate thermometers also to institutions that house the elderly. We have also done a mask donation to the Sadler's Home. So I suspect there's going to be ongoing activities as the pandemic is going to be around for a while. And the national fight is going to need support for a while. So I'm sure we're going to publicize it later, but Rotary intends to remain a partner with the state and civil society as we together battle against this pandemic.
President of the Rotary Club of Nyabingi, Denise Aline. And finally, on the local scene, Mrs. Carlo Mills Diamond, Education Officer, has offered congratulatory remarks on behalf of the Ministry of Education, highlighting the accomplishments of the Dateby Primary School throughout the past 25 years. She was at the time speaking during the school's anniversary celebration on Monday. Mrs. Mills Diamond praised the students for their ability to rise to occasions and the teachers for their innovation and creativity in continuing to ensure that the school still does amazing things. She also mentioned that they were finalists in the Independence Road Relay Beautification Competition, Court Reading Competition, and the Brimstone Hill Heritage Quiz Competition. The school also boasted best in test of standards for grades 4 and 6.
But the accomplishment that deserves greatest accolade in my humble estimation is the way in which you fearlessly took on all the big schools for the Rams Primary School competition and gave them a solid trouncing. Let's hear it for Dateby Primary School.
The Dateby Primary School is celebrating its 25th anniversary under the theme Amazing Things Still Happen Here. Coming up in regional news, Brazil marks 2 years of mining disaster that killed hundreds. The details when we come back.
Here is how I pay my Flow bills using the MyFlow app in just 3 easy steps. First, I downloaded the free app from the App Store. Then, I opened the app and logged in with my Flow ID. I activated my Flow ID earlier for free at flowid.co. I clicked on the account number and watched the magic begin. All my bills and the info right there at my fingertips. Just confirm the payment amount, then card details, and that's it. No trips to town, no long lines, and no hassle. Flow is keeping me connected.
And we're moving now to news on the regional scene. In Brazil, relatives and friends of hundreds of people killed in a mining disaster are marking the 2nd anniversary of the event. As family members gathered for memorial services, they also called for those responsible to be held accountable. Efforts to find the remains of those who died are still continuing in the southern state. Al Jazeera's Andrew Chappell reports.
2 years after her sister went missing, Natalia de Oliveira still hopes her body will be found. Some families in the town of Brumadinho are continuing to search for the remains of their loved ones that were swept away when the dam collapsed nearby.
My sister can be anywhere. In this search for Lucilda, I come and pray, hoping to find her as soon as I can. There's a lot of possible areas. We don't know if they're here. We pray for everyone to be found.
When the dam collapsed at this mining complex, 12 million cubic meters of mud and mining waste was unleashed. Authorities say more than 270 people were killed, but people here say that's a low estimate, and many more were swept to their deaths. Atamayo Fajeda's sister was among them. Along with other families, he wants the mine's operator Vale to be held to account for what happened. Excavation efforts are still taking place.
Not only did Vale destroy my family, countless families were destroyed. The lives of many people. Today we don't smile. There's only sadness.
The state government is seeking billions of dollars in compensation from Vale, the world's largest producer of iron ore. While the company's former CEO was charged with homicide last year, no one has been convicted. Although vigils and memorial services provide moments of solitude and reflection, many here still feel anger, and they say it's hard to move on and move forward when no one has faced justice. Andrew Chappelle, Al Jazeera.
With World Leprosy Day approaching, Guyana is boasting a decline in cases for 2020, an achievement which has been made possible through an effective treatment program. Kendall Richmond has more.
World Leprosy Day is observed internationally every year on the last Sunday of January to increase the public awareness of the disease. This date was chosen by French humanitarian Raoul Follereau as a tribute to the life of Mahatma Gandhi, who had compassion for people afflicted with leprosy. Leprosy, which is caused by the bacterium Mycobacterium leprae, is not highly contagious but can be transmitted when a person who is diagnosed with the disease coughs or sneezes. Some of the most common symptoms are painless swelling or lumps on the face or earlobes, loss of eyebrows or eyelashes, and growth on the skin. Leprosy is present in Guyana. In 2016, the country recorded 52 cases. 54 cases were recorded in 2017 and 49 cases in 2018. In 2019, the country saw a decline of just 27 new cases, and according to Dr. Lauren Caton, medical officer at the Skin Care Clinic of the Palms Geriatric Home, Guyana saw a further decline in cases in 2020. In an interview with Nightly News on Monday, it was revealed that only 12 cases were recorded last year. This achievement, she relayed, is linked to an effective treatment program.
The program has been so successful. There are less people walking around with disabilities, less people walking around with all these terrible looking lesions on their skin, so people feel leprosy is gone. So you might see a person walking around and they have leprosy, but you won't see anything because the treatment helps.
At present, there are 27 patients being treated for the disease, Caton said. It was further disclosed that while in the past leprosy patients were required to visit the clinic for treatment, they are no longer required to do so.
We do more home visits now because of the pandemic. Persons are encouraged to stay at home, and they already have an issue, and so we try to encourage them to stay at home as much as possible. So we do more home visits now.
There were some administrative regions where leprosy is prevalent that were neglected in 2020.
Regions 1, 7, 8, and 9. We used to visit that like yearly, or sometimes maybe more than once, depending on what is going on in those regions. But we haven't been able to go into those regions for a little while because, of course, the pandemic, the lockdown, and everything.
As such, there are plans to introduce the leprosy services to these outlying regions.
We have the planned outreaches, as I mentioned, to Region 2 and to the Essequibo Islands next month, and we might even go further, like Region 1 and so in March, because of the need in those places.
As for the observance on January 21, Dr. Caton revealed that the Minister of Health is expected to share a World Leprosy Day message in the Chronicle newspaper. In addition, the Skin Clinic will be distributing flyers and brochures to increase awareness on the disease. Reporting for the AGP Nightly News, Kendall Richmond.
Coming up, human rights abuses soared under Egypt's President El-Sisi. We'll tell you more when we come back.
Imagine having the luxury of putting all your trust in one insurance company and being able to enjoy a life to the fullest without having to worry. Well, don't imagine. National Caribbean Insurance is here to take care of all your insurance needs. Insure your life, vehicle, boat, home, belongings, and your future. At NCI, we make it our business to ensure that you enjoy every stage in life. We serve, we protect, we satisfy. That's NCI.
Welcome back. Egyptian rights groups say more than 60,000 people have been detained, disappeared, or executed since President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi came to power in a military coup in 2013. More in this report.
Marwa Arafah, Khulud Saeed, Radwa Muhammad, Isra Abdel Fattah, and Nuha Kamal. These were just a few of thousands of young activists who paid the price for exercising their right to free speech in Egypt during the last 7 years. They were all arbitrarily arrested and accused of political dissent or links to terrorist groups. Some went missing for months or years before their families found out they'd been taken by the authorities. Some were found dead with marks of torture on their bodies. The crackdown began in July 2013. That's when Egypt's first democratically elected President Mohamed Morsi was overthrown in a military coup led by his then Defense Minister Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Overnight, the high hopes of the youths who'd led the January 2011 revolution turned into frustration. Thousands were killed or arrested in a crackdown on Muslim Brotherhood protesters at Rabaa Square in Cairo. Ever since, there's been a continuous campaign to silence all opponents. An election in 2014 consolidated al-Sisi's power, but that did not stop human rights abuses according to rights groups.
During the last 5 years and a half, we recorded the forced disappearance of 8,636 men, 129 women, and 11 children. The number of arbitrary arrests during the same period exceeded 30,000. Several hundred more were wrongfully executed.
In its latest report, Amnesty International said the Egyptian authorities have embarked on a horrifying execution spree in recent months, putting scores of people to death, in some cases following gross, unfair mass trials. Most of those are thought to be against political detainees, according to Egypt's opposition sources. They say 63,000 people have been detained, including up to 3,000 women, 1,000 minors, since 2013. Widespread torture and other forms of abuse, often leading to death, have been reported. That includes the death of President Mohamed Morsi during a court appearance in June 2017 after years in prison. He'd reportedly been denied medicine to treat diabetes. UN experts described his death as an arbitrary killing. Egyptian authorities deny involvement or committing extrajudicial killings. But rights groups say there's a lack of transparency over the fate of hundreds of detainees who've gone missing after being arrested or who have disappeared. Most were political and social media activists who tried to express their views freely, exercising the same right for which many of their young colleagues lost their lives during the January 2011 revolution. Mohamed Val, Al Jazeera.
More than 100,000 people in the United Kingdom have now died from COVID-19. It is the highest number of deaths in Europe, and for the families left behind, the emotional cost is staggering. Al Jazeera's Andrew Simmons traveled to Bradford in the north of England, where densely populated poor areas are among the worst hit.
All over the UK, the enormity of what's happening is sometimes hard to absorb. The health service is overloaded to near breaking point. Many hospitals have no more room left for the dead. Vast temporary mortuaries have been set up, and now there's a landmark figure, 100,000 dead.
No one in our worst nightmares anticipated that we'd be here 10 months into the pandemic with such a high loss of life.
This is Bradford. There are high levels of deprivation, poor housing and ethnic minorities living close together here. COVID has struck these communities hard, and this Muslim cemetery is where many of the dead are buried. The grave digging is relentless and they're running out of space. COVID has frozen painful moments like this in the minds and hearts of too many people. Brothers, fathers, mothers, daughters, sons taken by the virus. And the numbers increase remorselessly. 100,000 lives lost, and how many more to come? The scale of this ongoing disaster can be measured in so many tragic ways. The crowded graveyards and the challenge of trying to visualize how many lives have been lost. As the counting of those who have died continues, a look at the UK's biggest football stadium, Wembley, can help convert those statistics into some sort of scale. Imagine every seat here as one lost life. And even with the stadium full, it would fall 10,000 short of the total. Just as hard to visualise is the number of those in mourning. Charities that arrange counselling estimate the number of bereaved at more than 500,000.
We're worried that that's a silent crisis going on behind closed doors.
Marie Curie, an end-of-life charity, says lockdowns mean many of the bereaved aren't getting help.
Those people are isolated, they're dealing with complex, difficult bereavement, and that they might not be getting the support they need.
Shirley Woods Gallagher's father died alone. She's shielding because of a health condition and couldn't go to the funeral. Instead, she was given protective clothing and allowed just a few minutes beside her father's body.
The rituals we have around funerals, wakes, building new lives, scattering ashes, are all taken from us with nothing put in place. So I think the compassion around the 100,000 needs to be there.
In Bradford, darkness doesn't stop the burials. The global spread of COVID carries with it a second pandemic, mass grief.
Up next in sports, SKNFA prize-giving ceremony held, and Jamaican seeks to be the country's first paracyclist at the Paralympic Games. Stay with us.
Imagine having the luxury of putting all your trust in one insurance company and being able to enjoy a life to the fullest without having to worry. Well, don't imagine. National Caribbean Insurance is here to take care of all your insurance needs. Insure your life, vehicle, boat, home, belongings, and your future. At NCI, we make it our business to ensure that you enjoy every stage in life. We serve, we protect, we satisfy. That's NCI.
Covering the crop. No, come in ever like this. The coronavirus is bad. So there is one thing we can do. Wash your hands, wash your hands.
Welcome back. On Monday, the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association hosted a prize-giving ceremony for the winners of the 2019-2020 SKNFA leagues. According to the SKNFA, more than $100,000 in cash and prizes were distributed. During the ceremony, General Secretary of the SKNFA, Stanley Jacobs, spoke of the history of such prize-giving ceremonies and noted that this year was historic as it is the largest payout of winnings in football history in the Federation.
Since I've been at the Football Association, we've had the winnings being paid out during the course of the following season. Sometimes we're struggling financially to pay the winnings. But this year, we're going to make history that before kickoff of the 2021 season, we will ensure that all the monetary awards from 2019-2020 and all the special awards are paid out.
Speaking to the efforts of the association over the past year, SKNFA President Anthony Johnson noted that the aim has always been to professionalize football in St. Kitts.
Our mission really is to try and find a way to at least semi-professionalize our own local tournaments. And one has to be realistic about it, because some persons will come and say, you know, we're going to have a professional league in St. Kitts and Nevis tomorrow. The reality is that that is not sustainable. And let us not kid ourselves into believing that it is, because it is not. And we have seen examples of, in other countries, which have more resources than us, where it has failed. So we're not going to promise a pie in the sky. What we're saying is that let us do it gradually.
The SKNFA Under-13 boys MVP went to Trevino Charles, and the Atiba Harris Under-15 boys and Keith Gums Under-17 boys MVP both went to Shervin King. Both players are from Village Superstars FC. Fourth place in the Elvis Star Brown Women's League went to Bath United FC. Third place went to Keon Football Club. The runner-up was Newtown United FC, and the league winner was Village Superstars FC. The MVP for the Elvis Star Brown Women's League went to Laverne Francis of Village Superstars FC. In the Division 1 League, the runner-up was Derby Eagles FC, and the winner was Bath United FC. The Division 1 final MVP prize went to Dejal Myers, Bath United FC. In the Super 6 competition, 6th place went to Sol Island Otto Connery FC, 5th place to St. Peter's FC, 4th place to Garden Hotspurs, and 3rd place to Keon FC. The Super 6 runner-up prize of $20,000 was presented to Village Superstars FC. The round-robin playoff and Super 6 final MVP prizes went to Keith Y. Freeman of St. Paul's United FC. And the big prize of the night was a $50,000 check presented to Super 6 winner St. Paul's United FC. Despite a 2017 accident that has derailed his Olympic dream to compete against able-bodied athletes, a Jamaican cyclist has switched focus to the Paralympic Games, looking for a chance to become the first paracyclist to represent Jamaica at the Games. Here's Denise Walters.
Marla Rodman saw his dreams of competing in the Tokyo Olympics vanish after losing function in his left arm. However, after encouragement from Dr. Wayne Palmer, the president of the Jamaica Cycling Federation, Rodman took up paracycling, this time with an eye towards the Paralympics. Dr. Palmer says Rodman was heading in the right direction until COVID-19 hit.
However, with the pandemic halting all cycling events, including paracycling, Mr. Rodman was unable to enter the necessary qualifying events. We are still hoping that some of these qualifying events will eventually be held and give him a second opportunity.
Dr. Palmer added that there are also other factors that are presenting a challenge.
The approval of a COVID protocol to allow training at the National Stadium, in addition to the ability to travel to other countries to participate in qualifying events, and the necessary quarantine that may ensue in between events.
Not daunted, Rodman, who is doing physiotherapy on his left arm, is still working out on his own.
There are some days I will go into the mountains, like I will ride from here to go to Plantation Heights and drop back out in Bagwalk and then walk to York and come back home. Sometimes I will just stay on the flat, because that helps to build good cadence when you stay on the flat. Strap this arm to the bike, try to tense the shoulder as much as possible to get some kind of use from this arm and do the workout.
He admits to a never-give-up attitude, reminiscing on that mindset at the 2015 Caribbean Championships.
Last lap, the road away and leave me. And I'm like, okay, you just have to settle for third place because two guys rode away with me. I'm like, no. Went up the hill and I saw them out in the distance and I started riding. 400 meters from the finish I saw them. I'm like, whoa. My head swelled big. My head raised. And I just sat on the bicycle as I was feeling some cramps and just pedal, just give it 100% to the finish. And I won. And since then, it just keeps getting better and better.
Also certified as a paracycling coach, the 32-year-old Rodman has words of encouragement for persons going through a tough time.
I would say to other athletes out there, don't give up on the dream. Don't give up on the dream no matter what the circumstances is. And just keep pushing and putting the best foot forward.
Rodman will have to compete in a classifier event to be classified by cycling's governing body, UCI. Denise Walters for TVJ Sports.
And that's it for sports. When we come back, we'll have another look at the stories that made the headlines.
To avoid getting the coronavirus, remember to wash your hands thoroughly and frequently before and after preparing food, after using the toilet or changing a diaper for a baby, sick person, or the elderly, after blowing your nose, and after leaving large gatherings or moving away from persons who appear ill. Encourage others to wash their hands and also use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer of 60 to 70% solution. Stay away from events having large gatherings of people. You can expose yourself to more possible infections in large groups. Also, avoid sharing cutlery, cups, glassware, etc. with others. Viruses can linger on these items and may be transferred this way. Avoid shaking and holding hands, and hugging or keeping an infected person in close proximity. This is a message from the Ministry of Health and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA.
And we're wrapping up with a recap of the top stories. Sugar Mass prize giving ceremony tomorrow. National Day of Prayer slated for Thursday. And Prime Minister thanks long-serving pastor for service to the community. And that's the end of the ZIZ Channel 5 newscast. Thank you for joining us. I'm Callum Barrage. Goodbye.